Hello there, my very good friends. On today's afternoon news video, what on earth are we doing? It's a Thursday. We're going to talk about some big plans for John Cena and his retirement tour.
A big update on the former Baron Corbin.
7 TNA contracts have officially expired.
And could a top name in New Japan be heading out the door soon? I'm Adam Wilborn.
I'm Andy Murray.
And this is the After News.
Yes. Let's start off by talking about John Cena, or C as he's known. We got this. We're kind of hoovering up some reports that came in over the past couple of days when we weren't here in this video, but one of them revolves around John Cena versus Logan Paul, maybe. On the Backstage Pass Q&A podcast that they do, WrestleVotes said that there was interest on both sides of doing that match. And there's interest in WWE as well, and Cena potentially wrestling Logan Paul, but potentially not at WrestleMania.
No.
It's noted here. They also shot down the idea of this happening on Raw Netflix premiere, which is in 4 days, so fair enough.
Oh God, yeah.
Fair enough. And they said
We've already got quite a lot on that show already.
Yeah, it's kind of busy. And it's also not very much notice. But they said that if they do it, it's going to be more of a built thing.
Oh, absolutely.
They want some time to push and promote it. So there you go. It's a big year for John Cena. He has been recently heavily linked to WrestleMania match with Cody for the belt. That could be part of his, I'm going to make Ric Flair's record my own, even though Ric Flair actually has like 24 world titles. But we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that.
And Cody should batter him.
Yeah, absolutely. I probably wouldn't give John Cena the belt in this final run. But Logan Paul, who recently claimed to be retired, of course.
Of course.
But, it's pro wrestling. So 2 days later, he was like, I'm not retired. That's how it works.
Modern day Terry Funk Logan Paul, is it?
Yeah. Literally the only way you could ever compare those two men is through their attitude towards retirement. But, I mean, on paper, quite good, but I want to see what John Cena can still do before getting too invested. I
really like this. Like you say, I'm apprehensive to see what in-ring John Cena's going to look like in 2025, but he's going to leave it all out there because, like you say, it's his last year. And I think on the big list of matches that you'd like to see from John Cena, you've got the likes of him versus Cody could be very interesting, obviously. You do want to see him versus Gunther at another point, obviously. But I think Logan Paul's another name that'd be right up there. Yeah, obviously, as well, they would spend time advertising this. It's like one of their biggest commercial crossovers in Logan Paul versus the guy that everyone knows, even if they're not really a wrestling fan. Oh, it's John Cena, yeah. So I'd be excited to see what happens there, not only in terms of in-ring, like you say, fingers crossed, we get a great match out of it, but also on the mic. Does he bring back the Doctor of Thugonomics for Logan?
Cena would bury him. Yeah. He would absolutely bury him.
Eviscerate him.
He would do what he did to Roman Reigns and what he did like years and years and years ago and what he did to Austin Fury.
Oh, yeah.
He would slaughter him. He would go after the forest in Japan. He would go after the crypto scams. He would go after the Prime. Everything. He would...
I wouldn't go after the Prime. Prime's delicious.
The moldy cheese and the lunch thing. He would... I mean, the promos would be outrageous. John Cena would destroy him. And it would be quite fun to watch, but whether or not that would help promote the match is another question.
It'd be very interesting to see, because Logan Paul presumably would have to not lead the match, but be the person selling for Cena. He'd have to make the
bump around.
Oh, what if he gets hit with the lightning fist?
Oh my gosh! Brings back the best move in sports history. I love the idea of Logan Paul with his 8 matches leading 30-year veteran John
Ridiculous,
Cena.
isn't it? But I think Logan Paul is jaw-dropping sometimes, considering how little experience he's got. Yeah. So it could be a really fun thing. Let us know in the comments which matches you'd like to see from John Cena before he retires.
Yeah.
We've got a year.
We do.
But, they're already, those slots are filling up. Like you say, what's he doing at Mania? He's going to be involved in the Rumble and the Chamber and all that sort of thing. So, I'm excited. I just hope he stays healthy, because the big risk is when you say, I've got a year and then I'm gone, if you blow out your knee or whatever on the January, the Netflix debut of Raw, it's like, we're doing the WWE contract thing. We're going to roll it on. It's a full year from whenever I'm back.
I wonder if he's going to be in the Rumble. Maybe they'll announce. I'd
have him in there.
He shows up on Monday and goes, "Hey, I'm in the Rumble." That's big.
Can't really argue against it. I don't like it somehow where some people have to go through qualifiers and other people just go, "I'm in the Rumble."
Yeah, but
if it's Cena,
it's John Cena. He can do what he wants.
Yeah.
It's like Dwayne. If Dwayne shows up backstage and goes, "Hey, you're tearing up your WrestleMania plans," that's what you do.
Yeah,
that's how it works.
And it's a cheat code, isn't it, for setting up like 5 feuds for John Cena throughout 2025, the Rumble, whether it be him eliminating someone or someone else eliminating him. But, of course, John Cena destroyed Baron Corbin at a SummerSlam a few years ago.
Good.
This kid ain't ready, or whatever he said, and he put on JBL's cowboy hat, and I thought, you're not taking this seriously. He literally was just Mr. Money in the Bank. Never mind. But the lovely Baron Corbin, friend of the channel, I think we can say now.
Yeah, enemy turned friend.
Yes,
I think.
And the offer of an interview is always there. We'd love to sit down with the former Baron Corbin, I should say, Tom Pistock, on X.
Pez.
Pez dispenser.
Pistol Pez.
As we like to call him. Check out this morning's news video if that makes no sense. Anyway, Tom provided a bit of an update on what's going on with him. He said, I'm officially no longer under contract since I was not fired. I was told they were not extending. So obviously, new year, completely free agent. If you're making a horror movie, let me know. New year, no contract. Let's see what we can create. I'm excited to see what the former Baron Corbin does, because I think a few years ago I was very sort of grumpy. He just doesn't do anything. Then he had that awesome run in King of the Ring, kicked Chad Gable's Shorty G's ass, and he's had flashes. The tag team with Bron Breakker in NXT was class, and it felt like they had something again with him when they moved him back to the main roster, and then they just didn't do anything with him, and unfortunately, like I say, didn't renew his contract. But he is someone you could easily see rebuilding his stock in TNA, for example.
If he went to TNA, he'd be a big benefit. I think he'd be a benefit to wherever he landed. I think that Baron Corbin, what a really interesting case he is, right? Because I think early on, he was perceived as the kind of the over-pushed big guy that Vince loves and all this stuff. And sure, he was, still learning how to be like an effective heel early in his career. But I really do think that he is extremely effective in that role of being like the gatekeeper heel who works a style that grinds people down. And he's got a couple of really fun, flashy moves.
Hell yeah.
The Deep Six, the End of Days. Great moves. But I think he's really effective in that role of just wearing a face down and building support for that face, and then until the comeback comes along, and then the face battles back and beats him or whatever in the end. It's a good effective position. So him in AEW, I think that's an interesting prospect, right? Because the AEW house style is the flashy, bombastic, counter, kick out, flip, a lot of the time. And that style has a lot of merit. But if you have a heel who does the opposite of that and gets heat by slapping on a headlock and working holds and, slowing it down, I think there's value in that. How would the AEW audience take that is the question. You might have some people who just go, oh, it's Baron Corbin from WWE, and just crap on it, whatever. But some, I don't know, live crowds might get into that. So I think it's an interesting prospect. Him in Japan would be fun. He'd be taller than a lot of the New Japan roster in particular. That'd be sick. And we've just seen the big my guy Omos go over to Noah and win some tag belts.
I saw the reactions to that. That was awesome.
Big boys in Japan rule. But Baron Corbin, I saw him making some burgers on Twitter yesterday. Looks like he's just having a good time. Yeah,
exactly. I think it's going to be very, very interesting indie run at the bare minimum for him, because I think he's really talented in ring, and I'm excited to see what 2025 has in store for him. I wouldn't rule out a return to WWE at the end of it all, but excited to see what he does in the interim. Best luck to him.
Another side of this, he's probably really rich.
Yeah.
So he probably doesn't have to do much if he doesn't want to. So world is his oyster, I feel.
He bought us a beer over WrestleMania weekend a few years ago. Thanks again for that.
Big.
He was lovely to chat to. Nice bloke.
Good. Tom.
Good Tom.
Big Tom.
Good big Tom.
Good big Tom. Now, TNA. They've just let go of 7 people.
Yeah.
Well, as contracts expiring, it's not really them releasing people or whatever. But Fightful Select reporting here that a bunch of TNA contracts expired on New Year's Day, and they're now officially free agents. Biggest name here is probably Mike Bailey, Speedball. He is believed to be on his way to AEW.
What? This is completely new information to me.
Shocking news. That seems to be an imminent thing. Could happen immediately.
Yeah.
But other people are out as well. Steph DeLander is now a free agent. She's injured, but their contract's expired seemingly. Kushida gone. Aiden Prince. Bhupinder Gujar. Jade Chung, the ring announcer, and Trent Seven. So you got other people as well who are coming up, like Jordan Grace is later this month. Josh Alexander.
She's gone. She's going to WWE.
She's getting paid, baby. And yeah, like a bunch of people leaving TNA at the moment. There was that report a couple of weeks ago where it was like they're offering Rhino's gone to. They're offering pay reductions to people, and that was the reason behind a bunch of people leaving. So tightening of the purse strings a little bit, perhaps. We'll see what comes of it, but I mean, some of these people are Jordan Grace is getting signed tomorrow.
Yeah.
Mike Bailey sounds like he's already signed. If Josh Alexander goes,
he ain't going to struggle,
signed.
is he, for work?
Yeah, these are very, very talented wrestlers indeed. I imagine Steph Delander would get signed somewhere as well.
I like her a lot.
Definitely. She was, of course, in WWE previously as Persia Perrotta.
Yeah.
I forget some of these NXT names sometimes.
She's done a lot more, I found, like seeing what she's been doing like on the indies and stuff, and TNA.
With Matt Cardona and all that. So there's a lot. Look, these folks will be fine, I imagine. Talented folks. Sucks to see people losing contracts always, but you just hope they land on their feet.
Yeah, exactly. I think we've speculated about these people, or certainly the likes of Trent Seven and like you say, Mike Bailey in the past when we heard reports about this. I think they'll be fine. Like you say, I think Mike Bailey is a really exciting prospect as we head into 2025, because there was rumours about him being in the C2, wasn't there? And then it was like, he kind of finished up with TNA, but
still
contractually, it's a bit messy. But I would not be surprised in the first few weeks of this year if we don't see Mike Bailey popping up in AEW, because I think he's a phenomenally talented guy who's, through reasons for the last few years, not been able to showcase his talents on Western television as much as he would have hoped. But now, I mean, we know what he can do, and I think he's going to be a real asset wherever he does end up, probably AEW. Like you say, people like Jordan Grace, Josh Alexander, probably, even though they're not mentioned here, are probably going to be leaving TNA, one would assume, to go to the likes of WWE. But I think Joe Hendry, I saw, was being advertised for the Jericho Cruise, which means people are going to be like, well, I guess he's not in the Rumble. You can do both. There's planes.
And boats, in fact.
There is.
So, you're going to be on a cruise,
But, it's like you say, it's always a shame when you hear people not losing their contracts because they've just expired, as you said, but not being offered new ones or like you say, being offered pay reductions. But, yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with TNA in 2025, not only with these budgetary constraints, let's say, but with this shake-up of talent. But who snatches that opportunity up? Yeah,
definitely. They've just re-signed AJ Francis, the former Top Dollar, who's been a big player for them.
Yeah.
Like, he had a world title match and stuff. So they're still making moves when it comes to contracts and things like that. And I don't necessarily think that people leaving means they're out of the market for a Baron Corbin or whoever else becomes available, but they just got a new TV deal in Canada. So, TNA, they're always TNAing about somewhere.
Indeed.
Just like
they'll never stop.
Yeah, you cannot stop them. they are hard to kill.
There you go. But speaking of contracts expiring, a New Japan name that we need to mention, and another former WCPW star like Mike Bailey, of course. It's Trent Seven. No, it's not. I've got confused there. Also another WCPW. I'm talking about Gabe Kidd. This report comes from Fight for Select. Sean Ross Sapp learning that New Japan strong open weight Gabe Kidd has his contract coming up soon. He's worked some ROH tapings. He's been a prominent talent, of course, in New Japan over the last couple of years. They're hoping to retain him, understandably. I think he's had a phenomenal 2024. No word on whether negotiations are ongoing or not, but the clock is ticking on that one. And let's not forget, he's working Kenny Omega, and he's been shooting off some promos about it. I do like Gabe Kidd's grumpy, this bloody business,
shouting and swearing and
shtick,
hooting and hollering. A small matter of welcoming Kenny Omega back to the ring after a year's absence.
Kick his ass, Gabe.
That is a big show of faith.
Yeah.
In Gabe and his abilities. He has been an ascendant star, like you said, over the past couple of years. I think he's been one of the more interesting and engaging characters and wrestlers in New Japan in what hasn't been the best period for that promotion. It's a rebuilding period for sure, and you'd imagine that they would want to keep him as somebody to build around in the future. I remember him first showing up as a young lion, like the way they kind of bring the young lions through as they surround the ring during matches and they're watching, and it was like one day I was just watching it like, Gabe Kidd's there. That's cool. And he's really grown into his role. I think with him, I think that he has a future on American TV for sure, but he's still young. I think that maybe the act could do with maybe another layer or two. I think that the shouting and the swearing, and it's very entertaining, but I wonder if you're watching it every single week, if it might wear a little bit thin. So like, I think he could definitely develop a little bit further. I think New Japan is the great place to do that, but I think the ceiling is endless for him. I think that he's fantastic, and I've loved watching him for years and years and years now. Especially at the heart of all this Bullet Club War Dog stuff. He is a great, angry young man.
Yes.
The world is his oyster, just like his Baron Corbin smash burger.
Indeed.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see what Gabe does next. I think he always showed a great deal of promise when we had him in WCPW, obviously. He's working with the likes of Cody Rhodes in there, let's not forget. And he was someone who I think deserves a lot of credit. He could have just sort of rested on his laurels and you know, gone to get like a developmental contract with WWE or whatever, but now he went to Japan. He clearly had big goals for himself, and he's grasped this opportunity, like you say, amidst all this shake-up with New Japan. He really has honed in and decided, right, well, there's an opportunity for me here to just be that Western git, basically. And he is, I think, has gone from strength to strength. Like you say, it tells you all you need to know that he's starting off the year wrestling Kenny Omega. I think 2025 is going to be a big year for him. And I saw that promo he did recently saying, I'm not going to be one of those people just collecting a paycheck and sitting and catering in AEW. Look, there's a lot of crossover between AEW and New Japan, obviously. And I think this year could be one of the ones where he is prominently featured because of his big mouth and his in-ring talent as well. Let's not forget that.
Kevin Knight, another New Japan contract coming up. So, like, this is always contract season in Japan. These are people that they're going to want to hold on to. We'll see if they're able to do that. Yes, interesting. But hey, thanks for joining us for this video. Second one of the day. Ups and Downs is up on the channel already for Dynamite. Simon, I almost called him Chiming. Chiming in. I don't know. There you go. That's his new gimmick, I guess.
Simon chimes in.
Print money on that one. Sorry, Simon. Ups and Downs is already up. Here's this morning's news video. Bye.
Bye.
See you later.